Hello, I'm Dr. Geoffrey, the decisions expert and the author of Training Your Mind in Split-Second Decisions. I would like to thank you. Thank you for purchasing the book. Thank you for watching these videos as well. As you have found out in other videos, I'm a decisions expert, a board-certified emergency medicine physician, and who has created a framework, a process based upon 20 years of research, training others, being a part of natural disasters and being a part of natural disasters where leadership and the decisions that we made were a matter of life and death. Also being an executive for many different organizations. We've taken all that and created a process for making split-second decisions. Today, we're going to talk about the TLC Framework, which is, and that does not stand for tender loving care. It's the framework for how we talk about split-second decisions. The T stands for when there's a time constraint. L, a lack of information, and C, critical consequence. In other words, split-second decisions are those decisions you make when there's a time constraint, a lack of information, and or critical consequences. Today, we're going to focus on the T, the time constraint. Let's frame it in a story. Many years ago, while I was medical director of a very large organization, and while I was medical director in Washington, D.C., I was in charge of all the ambulances and fire trucks and all that came with that. We had 2 back-to-back snowstorms, horrific snowstorms. Well, this has just happened to come on it was my 9th day on the job. Snowstorms are there. I'm home. I get a call. It's from one of my captains, and they're at the command center. They say, "Hey, Doc, we need to know right away. Can we stop transporting low acuity patients and only focus on the high priority patients?" In other words, what they were asking is to allow them on the field, in the field in Washington, D.C., to decide who they're going to transport to the hospital and who not. Who they're going to transport to the hospital and who they're not going to transport. Prior to that question, the rule has always been you call, we transport. We transport to a higher level of care. Back to the story. I get a call and they're asking me, "Hey, Doc, we need to know right away. Our crews are tired. Many ambulances are getting stuck. Can you give us permission to stop transporting non-urgent patients and only focus in on the urgent patients?" My 9th day on the job, I got these captains. We're in a conference call. We're on the phone. What do I do? This is a split-second decision. Why? Because there's a time constraint. They need to know right away. They need to know right here. L, the lack of information. I don't know how many ambulances are stuck. I don't know how many people are in need of care. I don't know how many low acuity patients. I am not sure that everyone's been trained on how to assess. So there's a lack of information. And then C, the critical consequences there. Meaning that making this decision could mean that the crews could choose not to transport someone who needed to be transported, and that could result in increased harm or someone's death. But we're functioning on the T on this, the time constraint. Let me tell you the end of the story, and then I'll bring it home. In the end, I thought about it. I paused. I said, "Let me call you back." I made a few other calls to more seasoned people, even people who held my position in the past. It only took about 10 minutes. And in the end, what I discovered was it was change of shift. A number of people were calling in. it was easier to just say, hey, let's not transport less acute patients, less urgent patients. And that was the reason. My decision was, no, we would continue to transport all patients. It may take us a while, but we will continue to transport all patients. We'll make sure that we give overtime. We will make sure that we call in as many people as possible. That's the end of the story. So it worked out. But the take-home point is that while the book is named Split-Second Decisions, let's talk about the time. The time component of there is, don't forget, a time constraint. It may not always be seconds, and often it won't be seconds. It's any time where you have a decrease in the amount of time that you would normally have to make that decision. Again, it may be seconds, but it's any time there's a sudden decrease in the amount of time that you have to make that decision. For instance, if normally you're given 2 months to develop the budget, but something happens, the chair of the board calls and says, hey, we need the budget in 48 hours because we need to look over it to assess da-da-da. There are a lot of split-second decisions you're going to have to make as a result of that time constraint. But another point of that story is, as it relates to the time constraint, is make sure the time constraint that is placed on you is being placed on you by someone who has the authority to place it on you. In that story that I shared with you, the captains did not have that authority. Again, when there's a time constraint placed on you, make sure that the person or people placing that time constraint on you have the authority. That's the T factor of the TLC factor. And again, TLC does not mean tender and loving care. I thank you very much. And I would encourage you, as you read Train Your Mind in Split-Second Decisions, visualize, apply it to your industry, apply it to how you see yourself making future decisions. And again, thank you, be safe, and make sure your decisions are in the best interest of the organization and that they're kind decisions. For more information on me, you can visit me at splitseconddecisions.com. And again, thank you very much.